gossip about him, and he ended the stereotype about me. Which goes to show that when you use soft skills, you get benefits you didn't know you could get. And I've been doing this for decades now, using soft skills and attracting unimagined success. When I talk about soft skills, I describe it as taking positive control in the small spaces of situations and relationships. My ending the toxic gossip, the bad gossip, gossip is good, bad, or ugly. I ended the toxic gossip by having a conversation in a hallway with the target of the gossip. I told him that the middle-aged woman was saying bad things about him. Small space situation. Took control by giving him the information, and he talked to her. I later saw him talking to her in the hallway. It's quite a hallway. So, and that ended it. And the small space in the hallway of just saying hello, that's a small space. And I've been doing that for decades now, and I've attracted all kinds of successes. And there are people who say that they don't like small talk or chit chat, but chit chatting with a wide variety of people in a wide variety of situations cultivates the confidence to create connections with particular people in particular situations for career conversations. And because I've been doing this for decades, I try to start conversations wherever I go because I see them as opportunities. Because I've been doing this for decades, I easily approached the host of an international podcast about including his podcast as a resource for soft skills strategies for yourself. I have 2 online self-study courses for teaching soft skill strategies to use with others. But lots of people, especially those who feel the imposter syndrome, think they don't deserve the success that could come their way from using soft skills. So I have 14 blog posts listing soft skill strategies to use with yourself in a wide variety of situations, including saving your life. And I approached this podcast host and said, this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to include your podcast, episodes of your podcast, appropriate episodes of your podcast in my blog posts. And it would be nice to be a guest on your show as well. And he had me on his show as a guest. On my 72nd birthday, I became an international audience favorite on this podcast. I've done 2 podcast interviews so far on this show, and I'm doing another one this summer. So when you chit chat, when you use soft skills in small spaces, you open doors for all kinds of big opportunities, and you develop skills for having conversations for those big opportunities.
Wow. I've heard some stories, and like I said in the beginning, I have one myself, short version, child abuse, foster care, domestic violence, just to name a few things. But I've heard all walks of life. But your story, that's remarkable. I take my hat off to you that you were able to take such, tragedies and stuff that you've been through. And I've been through things with my mom too. So I can kind of relate you. It's been mental and physical abuse, mostly with me. But wow, I wow, you have a story. And misdiagnosed, I wouldn't know what to do. And I'm just listening like, oh my God, this woman is still here for a reason, just, like me. This is why I want to do this, to meet, people like you and hear your story, because I know everyone has gone through something.
Right.
And still healing, if you will, from any tragedy, mental, physical, sexual, whatever it may be. And it's amazing to hear that. And I also like to hear when they can take it and make it positive. And I think I heard you mention something about, when you're hurting, you're going through things, it becomes familiar.
Yes.
Because that's the only way you really know how to hurt people.
Yes, hurt people. Right,
Yeah.
my mother was hurt. So she hurt everybody
Yep.
who she thought she saw as a threat to her. Yes, she was hurt.
And it's sad. I went through it. I didn't know anything but lashing out and arguing and fighting and defending myself and caring what people thought. And it takes so much out of you. But a lot of us, unfortunately, from our upbringing, we really don't know any better. And we have to learn a lot
You have to learn. You have to learn.
the hard way.
And I want to say that the first small spaces that I took control in were my ears and my mouth, because I survived my childhood by listening to positive words I could trust. I could trust my father. I could trust his love. I was afraid of his rages, but I could trust his love. So I listened to positive words I could trust. I spoke positive words others could trust. And I spoke positive words to myself. I don't say negative things to myself. Sometimes if I do something stupid, I'll say that was stupid. But if
Yeah.
I say, you're stupid, I'm not stupid. I'm a smart person who sometimes does stupid things.
You
But I
hear me?
Yes, I say
Yeah.
positive words. It's always positive words, and people are attracted to positive words. And when people see you taking positive control in small spaces, they often will support you or give you other ways to be successful. That's happened to me continuously. In fact, I became a compulsive overeater, a binge eater, to bury my feelings. Well, to bury the memories of being murdered because I didn't know how to deal with them. And I took positive. I got rid of the ended. Well, I didn't get rid of it. It faded over time. I wrote letters to the editor of a paper for consistently for 9 years, and that was taking positive control in a small space, writing letters. Because of my spinal injury, I had difficulty sitting and standing normally. And how do you earn money when you have difficulty sitting and standing normally? So I lived in poverty with my daughter. We got Social Security benefits, but my husband died very young, so the benefits were low. We got food stamps and rental assistance and Medicaid. And I was surrounded by people stereotyping single mothers as terrible people. So I started writing letters to the editor about poverty and about food stamps. And that was a small space in which I took control, telling people this is the way it really is. And there was a lot of hostility towards my letters. One woman wrote and said that I was hiding behind my daughter and looking for free handouts. Didn't matter that I was a widow. I was a single mother who was taking money out of her wallet. But I had a lot of positive reactions as well. And I moved to a village where a woman stopped me on the street and thanked me for writing the letters. I got a letter thanking me. I got a phone call. At one point, I wrote about Joseph McCarthy. I live in Wisconsin, where Senator Joseph McCarthy was a senator, and he was behind the Red Scare in the 50s that targeted a lot of Hollywood people and put a lot of people out of work. And someone had said something positive in the paper about Senator Joseph McCarthy. So I did a little research and found that he had harmed the lives of hundreds of Americans and wrote a letter to the paper to that effect. I got a phone call from someone who knew one of those hundreds of Americans, and he said McCarthy really had harmed her life. So that kind of feedback. My favorite was when I was 35. I started college when I was 35, and I took a class on tutoring writing because I'm a writer. And I walked into the classroom one day at the beginning of the semester, introduced myself to another non trad student, and her response was, "You're Paula Kramer? She's Paula Kramer? You're Paula Kramer?" And so that kind of positive feedback after my mother taught everyone in the family to discount what I said and ignore what I did. Ignore what I said and discount what I did. So as adults, my siblings have treated me like a trespasser in their lives. And nobody in the family on either side believes that my mother tried to kill me because they believe my mother. So all that negativity, the negativity from being a single mother, the negativity from people who thought I was faking the pain in my back. And then I get all this positive reaction from my letters. After about 4 or 5 years, I realized I was binging less. The need to eat was fading away. My, my binge eating ended over about 9 years of writing letters to the editor. So I wrote letters to take a small space control for myself, and other people gave me what I needed to end my compulsive overeating. And I